Picture waking to the sound of canvas tearing 2 feet from your head. Not a dream, not the wind. By the time you understand what is happening, you are already being dragged through the dark by your throat. That is exactly what woke a railway camp on the banks of the Tsavo River in Kenya in March of 1898. The man taken that night was a Sikh foreman named Ungun Singh, and the lion that took him left tracks in the sand and nothing else. The camp had thorn fences and bonfires burning all around it. Neither stopped what happened next. Both lions responsible were maneless, unlike the lions on every postcard and every nature documentary. To the terrified workers, that alone made them feel like something other than ordinary lions, something the camp had no name for yet. Lions can do this. They have the size, the speed, the bite force to do this to almost any one of us, almost anywhere, on almost any night they choose. And yet across the whole of Africa, in places thick with lions, this is rare. The real reason why has very little to do with fear, and almost everything to do with arithmetic. Not too big, too small, and too lean to be worth the risk. In 2005, 2 South African researchers, Matt Hayward and Graham Curley, pulled together 32 separate studies spanning 48 lion populations across the continent. Lions are not opportunists who will eat whatever crosses their path. They have a preferred prey weight, somewhere between 190 and 550 kilograms. Most adult humans weigh less than half of that lower number. Ecologists have a term for this kind of calculation, optimal foraging. A predator is shaped generation after generation to chase prey that returns far more energy than it costs to catch. A human comes with real risk of being kicked, bitten back, or mobbed by other humans nearby in exchange for comparatively little usable meat. Lions are not avoiding you out of mercy. They are avoiding you because the math rarely works out in your favor as prey. And that single fact makes what happened at Tsavo even harder to explain, because for 9 straight months, 2 lions broke that math completely. Over those 9 months, the 2 lions emptied stretches of an 8-mile construction camp built to house close to 3,000 Indian and African workers. By December, hundreds of terrified men were boarding any train that would carry them away, and the bridge sat unfinished. Patterson, the British engineer sent to complete it, eventually shot both lions himself, the first on December the 9th, and the second 20 days later. He claimed in his own book that the pair had killed 135 people. The railway's official record put the number at 28. Somewhere between those 2 figures is the truth, and even that gap tells you how unprecedented this was. In 2017, researchers at Chicago's Field Museum got an answer no one expected. Bruce Patterson, no relation to the colonel, and Vanderbilt scientist Larissa DeSantis examined the actual skulls of both lions, still held in the museum's collection. One of the 2 had a root tip abscess buried in a canine, a hidden infection so severe it would have made the lion's normal method of killing, clamping down hard enough to suffocate a struggling zebra or buffalo, almost impossible. That same year, the wider Tsavo region was also gripped by drought and rinderpest, a cattle plague that had already devastated the buffalo and antelope herds lions depend on. A 2024 genetic study went further, recovering hair trapped in the lion's damaged teeth and identifying giraffe, zebra, oryx, wildebeest, and waterbuck in their diet, but almost no buffalo. The one prey species these particular lions should have been eating constantly. The same DNA confirmed something people had long suspected. The 2 lions were brothers. Their usual menu and their ability to chew through it had failed at the exact same time. A human, by comparison, takes almost no effort to subdue. Read that again. An animal capable of killing a full-grown buffalo had been reduced by a single ruined tooth in an empty floodplain to choosing the easiest kill within reach. You might assume this settles it, that a bad tooth explains every man-eating lion. The scientist who has spent the most time studying these attacks, Craig Packer of the University of Minnesota, does not agree. He points out that plenty of man-eating lions, including some of the most prolific, have had perfectly healthy mouths, which raises an uglier question than the one about teeth. If a damaged mouth is not the whole story, what is? Between 2002 and 2004, in the Rufiji district of southern Tanzania, a young male lion killed more than 50 people across 8 villages. Local residents nicknamed him Osama, after the source of the era's other headlines. He was 3.5 years old when Game Scouts finally shot him in April of 2004. Some pointed to a large abscess on one of his molars as the explanation. Packer, whose team investigated the case, was not convinced bad teeth were the trigger here either. He thinks Osama most likely learned the behavior, the same way a lot of dangerous habits get learned inside a family. His mother had probably done it first. Man-eating, in other words, is not always something broken inside one lion's body. Sometimes it is something taught, lion to lion, inside a pride. That should unsettle you more than the abscess did. And here's where this stops being a story from a museum and becomes a story about right now. In 2005, Packer's research group published an analysis in the journal Nature, covering 15 years of lion attacks across Tanzania. The numbers were staggering. More than 563 people killed since 1990, at least 308 more injured. The attacks were not random. They spiked hard every year at harvest time, in districts where the only abundant wild prey left for lions was the bush pig, a nocturnal crop raider that families were already guarding against by sleeping out in their own fields through the night. Bush pigs are small, well under that 190-kilogram threshold lions actually prefer, which means even the one animal still common enough to hunt was not fully solving the problem. The bigger animals lions are built to hunt. The antelope and buffalo inside that 190 to 550 kilogram window had largely vanished from those districts already, stripped out over decades by snares set for the bushmeat trade. The lions did not choose to start hunting people in those villages. The disappearance of almost everything else they were built to eat made that choice instead. If you have ever assumed that distance from nature, a fence, a road, a village wall, makes you permanently safe, the families in Rufiji and Lindi believed exactly the same thing. Right up until the year that belief stopped being true for them. So why don't lions usually eat humans, when clearly, mechanically, they could? It is never one single reason. It is a fragile stack of 3 things holding at once: a body too light and lean to be worth the energy most of the time, teeth and jaws healthy enough to take down something bigger and easier instead, and enough wild antelope and buffalo still on the land that a lion never has to find out exactly how easy you are. Every documented man-eater in the last 130 years is simply a lion for whom one of those 3 things failed. A rotten tooth, a mother's bad habit, passed down, a bush picked clean of everything else. The lions of Tsavo were never monsters with a sudden taste for human flesh. They were 2 brothers with ruined mouths and an empty floodplain, doing the only arithmetic that still worked for them. Ungan Singh was not unlucky, because lions are secretly hunting all of us, waiting for the right night. He was unlucky because, for 9 months in 1898, the ordinary rules protecting almost every human on the continent had quietly broken down around one particular river. Those same rules are still the only thing standing between you and an animal that has never once stopped being capable of this. And across parts of Africa today, as snares keep stripping the bush of the prey lions actually prefer, somewhere. Those rules may already be thinning again, long before anyone official is counting. You are not safe because you are untouchable. You are safe because, so far, the math has not yet had a reason to include you.